it's your girl Mo, and welcome back to my channel.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life moves fast when you do what you want.
So, I've missed you guys so much, and this is why. Today, I'm bringing you guys the long-awaited What NYU is Really Like video. But first, before we hop into it, I just want to go ahead and thank our first ever sponsor, Dossier. They were so kind to gift me these two perfumes. Boom. And they're just so, that girl like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys have heard about this brand. They're really popular on TikTok, but they're kind of known for having really good scents that sometimes complement other designer brands, but for like a fraction of the cost. So the first one I got is the Floral Marshmallow. Its base notes are amber, vanilla, and musk, and then some other notes to keep in your mind are orange blossom, honeysuckle, marshmallow, and just like, it's great. I love it. Sits on my skin really well. I always use oil with it whenever I'm using it, so it really seeps into my skin. And same thing with the Ambre Vanilla. I'm pretty sure this one is supposed to mimic the what's it called? The YSL Black Opium, I believe. Really good. Base notes are cedarwood, patchouli, vanilla, and coffee. And then some other notes in there are your mandarin, your pear, pink pepper, orange blossom. Great scent. Also sits so well on the skin. So thank you, Dossier, for sponsoring my video. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the video, y'all. I'm so excited for this video. I've been dying to touch on every single thing, and it's just time. I finished my freshman year. I'm in the second year of my sophomore semester, so I've gone through that freshman year experience. I've settled in. I can just tell you guys so much tea. So let's get into it. I guess the first thing we could talk about is academics, okay? We're at NYU, we might as well talk about the academics here, all right? So, one thing, if I say so one more time, y'all, anyways, the academics at NYU. Top tier education, top tier professors you're getting access to, and a lot of our professors, I know, speaking for me personally, because I also want to implement my personal experience in this video, a lot of my professors are adjunct professors, which means that they are not, their only job is not being a professor, basically. So they might take a semester off and only teach their particular class one semester. So for example, my sports marketing class, I'm pretty sure my sports marketing class is only offered in the summer and in the fall, because my professor owns like a whole marketing company. And then that brings to like my IP class this semester, right? My professor for IP, he owns his own licensing group, right? So he only teaches IP class during the spring semester. So you're getting the top tier professors. Also, just a college tip. When you're picking your professors, you need to use Rate My Professors. It is accurate, okay? That's one thing like I want to stress, because I feel like people don't stress that enough. You need to be using Rate My Professors. Now, back into the real nitty-gritty about the academics. Obviously, you guys know this is one of the top schools in the country, and that's really proven here at NYU. Like, they hold you to a high excellent standard. It's honestly something I'm glad to be a part of. You're just getting access to the best facilities. Networking, the alumni network is insane. I know for my program alone, my major is sports management. When people are looking for internships, so fall semester starts, spring semester starts, or the summer starts, my advisor will email me a whole Google Doc of people within the alumni network. It'll have contact name, contact email, just everything. Introduce yourself to them if you need an internship. And I do have an internship, and that's something I want to touch on later when it comes to opportunities, because that's really important. You can also study abroad at NYU, which I have personally not done, but I am looking forward to doing it. I feel like it would be really dope. I believe we offer London, Paris, Abu Dhabi, Ghana, Shanghai. What else? I think that's it. It might be more. I have no idea, but it's really cool. So I really want to do that. So if you're interested in that, we do have that here. And I'm pretty sure academic wise, that's pretty much it. Y'all obviously know it is very rigorous. Yeah. So now that we're done with the boring stuff, okay, let's go ahead and get into the real stuff. First, let's talk about friends and social life. Let me get into how it is making friends here. Me personally, I only have literally 3 friends here, which is fine. I'm like an introvert / extrovert, so I'm pretty much chilling. Is there sometimes I wish I could just call up one of my friends, like, girl, come over, this, that. Yeah. But like, at the same time, I'm not tripping. So my freshman year, there is a page called NYU Class of 2025. So if you're planning on coming to NYU or you're going to be in the next class that is admitted, I'm pretty sure it'd be NYU Class of 2027, I believe. Your best friend is going to be Instagram. That's literally how I met all of my friends. That's how I set up lunch dates. That's how I set out going to brunch, going to dinner through Instagram. Was I comfortable sending a random person running a random account my favorite picture of myself and a little biography? No. But do I regret it? No. Why? Because that's how I met most of my friends, and that's how a lot of you will meet most of your friends if you do decide to come to this university. It's not a traditional campus, which is something we're going to touch on later because that's a whole other giant, okay? So you kind of got to get it how you live it. I will say that once you've made that initial hit up the DM, hit up the Snapchat, trust me, I used to be one of those people like, I'm not following, I'm not reaching out, I'm not this. Trust me, you're going to want to do that. It is vital if you are a very social person. On my move-in day, maybe a couple of days afterwards, I went around to everybody's door on my dorm hall and knocked on their door and said, hello, my name is Morgan. Nice to meet you. What's your name? You might not be that extroverted, and I don't think I'm that extroverted, but something in me just made me. But that's another way, honestly. If you're comfortable with speaking to people in your classes, you know, getting people Snapchats, you can do that too. I never did that personally, just because like sometimes I get very like, if I don't know you, how am I gonna keep a conversation, you know? So that's just kind of one thing, I guess. But Instagram, best friend. Snapchat, best friend. Trust me, all that's gonna be like your best friend. I have like all the notes written on my phone, by the way, if you see me like looking down here. Which brings me to nightlife. You will not have a nightlife vibe if you do not have a certain type of ID that are gonna get you into club establishments. Okay, I don't have one of those IDs, and I'm not just saying that. I really don't have one of those IDs. That's why I'm kind of in my dorm most of the time. But my freshman year, we had this thing called Welcome Week, which is basically like your first move-in day and the week after that. And we had Welcome Week events, and all of these clubs would make the nights 18 and plus because they knew NYU kids, Columbia kids, whatever, were coming back to school or have recently been admitted into school. When you're making your friends on Instagram and Snapchat, you'll start hearing people say, what's the move? Like, what are we doing for Welcome Week? And they'll send you, it was literally links, how to buy tickets. It's a whole thing. Like, trust me, you will not be out of the loop. Even when you first move in, you'll hear your suite mates talking about it. So trust me, don't think too much about it, but just know that's really the only time you're going to be able to get into a club while you're here, unless you have a particular type of ID that's going to get you into a club. So if you think you're going to come here, have the nightlife, live it up, like a lot of places, I'm from Houston, most of the clubs are 18 plus. That is not the case here. 21 and up, and that's period. Like, trust me, that's one thing you do need to be aware of. But me personally, I don't go to the club, so I've kind of like finesse the system and go into really nice restaurants that look, you know, not clubby, but like, you know, for the aesthetic, for the vibe. It's a really nice restaurant near me called Buddha Bar. So cute, such a nice vibe. You know, you got towels up here, you got Carbone up here. It's a lot of nice restaurants you can go and take really, really cute pictures like you're having a night on the town. And you honestly can have a night on the town, like for real. If that's more your vibe, going out with your girls and getting dinner period, like you're gonna be good. So that's one thing I do want to touch about nightlife, because a lot of people don't touch on that in their videos, and that's something I want you guys to be very, very aware about. So next, let's talk about athletics. If you think you're going to come to NYU and have that, I'm just gonna say her, Alex Earl, right? Obviously, she's living a very different life from a lot of us. But if you think you're gonna come here with that tailgating, frat parties, this, that, you're in for a rude awakening. This is why I kind of wrap that into athletics. So me being from Texas, right? Big football state, big basketball state. I didn't realize how much of the culture of the schools I was attending was so wrapped into the sports culture. You know, your spirit week, homecoming moms, like a lot of that. Since there's no sports here, you're not really getting that same culture-esque experience. You know what I'm saying? So if you're that person looking for the tailgates, the frat parties, a lot of those frat parties are happening after the games, after the football, after the basketball. You know what I'm saying? We don't even have frat houses, sweetheart. So that's not something you're gonna be able to really experience for real. But I will say we have neighboring campuses like Columbia or Fordham in the Bronx, Rutgers in Jersey, which is not that far. It might sound far, it's not far at all. But they do have football teams. I believe Columbia is D1, Rutgers is definitely D1, Fordham might be D1 too, I'm not particularly sure. All of those campuses do have football teams. So if you're interested in that tailgating after frat party life, I believe believe, I don't think Columbia has frat houses. Don't quote me on this, but I don't know. Those are gonna be your best bet. You're gonna have to keep in mind, they're pretty far, they're not far away, but they're far away. And then if you're not from New York, getting to Jersey, that whole train scene, you're not taking the subway, you're taking the real train. Now, my personal experience, I have not made it to any of the Columbia games, any of the Fordham games, any of the Rutgers games. I think I made it to one Seton Hall basketball game. They don't have a football team, they only have a basketball team, and their basketball team is great, but again, it wasn't no really after party type scene like that. They do have frat parties a lot. One of my friends goes there and they do have frat parties. Now, I think it would be a little odd if you know nobody at the university, you probably wouldn't know about any frat parties. My personal experience, I've never been to any type of frat house dorm affiliated party. I've actually been to one dorm party, but it was more like a kickback, like 6 of us. So I really haven't had experience personally with the whole party scene. If that's a big one for you, look somewhere else. Or if you have a friend that goes here, try to, I don't know. For me personally, I haven't been very successful. Also, I guess for athletics, we do have teams, but they're all D3 except fencing. We do have a basketball team, they're D3. Do with that information what you will, but it's not really a lot to touch on for athletics being at NYU, which is so funny that I'm a sports management major and people always ask me, how are you a sports management major? You got no sports. It's just because it's like a top tier program and all the league office headquarters are mostly in New York. So it's kind of just like, speaks for itself. Next thing I'm going to talk about is campus. So at a normal traditional college, right, a lot of the friends you meet, you're going to meet them on campus. Maybe y'all have a yard or a student center, and NYU does have a student center, but that's not the spot. Okay, nobody's going to go hang out at Kimmel. All right, I'm just being for real. Our campus is Washington Square Park. It's just skyscrapers around Washington Square Park. Getting to class, for example, your freshman year, the dorms that you're in, right? They're closer to campus. So me personally, I stayed in Founders Hall, which is about a 10-minute walk from campus. To a lot of people, that doesn't sound like a lot, and it wasn't a lot for me until it started snowing and getting cold, and I'm from Texas. So if you're from a different region and you've never been to the East Coast cold, that's another thing you need to take into account because the walk gets pretty far, pretty fast. A lot of my classes this semester and last semester, my sophomore year, were not in WSP. That's like Washington Square Park for short. Why am I stuttering? That's like Washington Square Park for short, so I'm just gonna say WSP and not the whole thing. A lot of my classes weren't around WSP, okay? A lot of them were in Mercer Street, whatever. And then we also have a brand new center called the Polson Center, which is a lot of where I guess like newer-ish classes would be. I have one class in there this semester. I swear if that makes one more sound. It's really, really nice. It's also a dormitory, so if you are a incoming freshman, you should definitely look at that. It's only open to freshman students, which sucks, but it's so nice. I think they're getting a cafe in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. The best way I can describe it, you're living in New York City and popping into a classroom. Now let's move on to comparing it to an HBCU experience. So I want to input diversity into this conversation. And that's why I said comparing it to an HBCU experience. Obviously, I've never been to a HBCU. So I don't know the true experience between a PWI and an HBCU because I've never attended an HBCU. It would be different if I transferred in or, you know what I'm saying? When NYU preaches diversity, I think they're preaching diversity in the different people from different countries that you will meet in your classroom. I really hope that makes sense. For example, I personally would say 60% of the student body is international students. When I walk into a classroom and the university is preaching diversity, I expect to see other people that somewhat look like me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying people from these countries can't look like me, but you know, just a generic, like I expect people who look like me, brown people, you know what I'm saying? I don't get that here. And I feel like that's so misconstrued when they preach it. So do not get caught up in, but the city is diverse, NYU is still a PWI. But if you really do want that community factor, it might be hard to get that. But do not let that discourage you because we do have BSU, or is it BSA, Black Student Association or Black Student Union. They're very, very active on campus. I went to one of their programs last year and it was like a cookout. It was really, really cute. I got there so late I missed all the food, but it was a cookout. It was really, really cute. They're very active on campus. You can find your community that way. We also have the African Students Association. They're very active on campus as well. And both BSU and the African Student Association, they partner with other organizations on campus that are geared toward the Black student body. So don't let that deter you. It's still PWI, but you know, work what you got. But the one way that NYU does relate to an HBCU, when the I don't know if y'all have ever seen the TikToks about how they say international kids will come dressed runway head to toe in class, but it gives runway. every single time I go to class. I kid you not, I would go downstairs at nighttime at Founders when I stayed there my freshman year. And the international kids would have, I saw a girl with Balenciaga pajamas. I saw Dior pajamas with their name engraved. I'm like, I'm coming down there in my bonnet, oversized tee. I'm like, so I need to step up the PJ game too. I think one of my classes last year, a girl had on a Prada shirt, a tulle skirt, Alexander McQueen shoes, Dior, like she ate down. That's the only way it does relate. Next, let's talk about opportunities in New York. So the one that I want to focus on personally, I probably said personally about 10 times this whole video, but anyways, my internship. So as you guys know, or maybe you don't know because I've been gone for so long, I'm interning at Roc Nation. So if you don't know what Roc Nation is, it is known as a record label, more specifically Jay-Z's record label. They also have a sports agency. So last semester, fall 2022, I was a sports intern in their sports division at their sports agency in New York at their office. So it was really, really cool. Great network of people that I met. And now this semester, they brought me back and I am in the music brand partnerships division of like not the label side, the music side, like the brand side, if that makes more sense. And that kind of focuses on the opportunities at NYU. When you come here, the sky is the limit. I call it a name bite. A name bite is something that you can put on a piece of paper and people are like, oh, let me pay attention to the resume, or oh, let me pay attention to their application. NYU really does a great job of that, but it's also the network of people. I don't know what part I mentioned it in, but how my advisor would send out that long Google Doc of the alumni network, that is no joke. Like, you will find someone everywhere at any Fortune 500 company, maybe the executive, maybe the top dog. They probably, more than likely, went to New York University. It's just great. The amount of opportunities they give you and just everything. I just love it. I feel like, for me personally, without NYU on that LinkedIn, being a woman of color, especially in the field I want to go in, it probably could have made a difference in if I got a position or not. But I'm not saying with Roc Nation specifically, I'm just saying with anything, period, moving forward. So yeah, that is definitely one thing I will highlight, the opportunities this school give you and just the opportunity of being in New York, period. Yeah, that kind of brings me to my next point, which is New York City pluses. Like I said, you're in New York City, the sky is the limit. I have a multitude of different things that I like to do. I can dance, I can sing, I can do whatever. If you come to school, let's say you want to be a STEM major, right? And you're good at all of these things. This city will allow you to hone your abilities and see which one you resonate with the most. When we pick our college majors, we're 17 years old. I know me for sure, when I picked my major, I was like, dang, I gotta pick something I want to do for the rest of my life at 17. That's insane to me. That's what boat most of us are in. Coming to the city really allows you to explore different things, different niches, and see what you like the most. And also, you never know who you're gonna meet. The owner of the Milwaukee Bucks was my guest speaker in class, a billionaire standing in front of me. That's insane. You never know who you're gonna meet here. It's just crazy. I love it to death. Also, when I'm walking around, I like to look my best most of the time, because when I tell y'all I was at Chick-fil-A one day and saw Tiana Taylor, unfortunately I could not ask for a picture because she was with her daughter, so I just wanted to respect that. I didn't even ask her. That is like a great example I can give you guys. You never know who you're gonna see in the city, and you never know who you might meet. And last but not least, housing. I do not pay for housing because I am on a full ride scholarship. All praise to the Most High. I would not be able to be here and do the things I do without him. I always want to give him his praise. But the housing at NYU is no joke. My freshman year, I believe freshman living rates start at $7,000 a semester. And this does go up with every year. I think about 1% or something. Now that I am an upperclassman, in high school, I would count upperclassmen as junior, senior, but here after freshman year, automatically an upperclassman. Living rates start at, I want to say, $10,000 a semester. So a lot of your friends, or maybe even you, after your freshman year, you will see a lot of people getting apartments. Thankfully, I have a full ride, so I didn't have to worry about that. I don't think I'll ever be getting an apartment, but I am in a single dorm, and they do have single living options. I am currently in Lafayette Hall, and I absolutely love it. If you guys want a dorm tour, let me know, but I'm gonna have to find somebody to film it. I'm in a single dorm. It's huge in here. I love it. It's the best thing ever, but that is something that you definitely need to take into account when you are moving into NYU or deciding on attending NYU. Living expensive gets really expensive, expenses get really expensive really fast. Personally, my overall experience, especially being a Black woman here at NYU, has been great. Honestly, I couldn't see myself anywhere else. I love this campus, I love this city, and thankfully, I have not been discriminated against in any type of way, in class, on the street, or anything. But yes, guys, that's pretty much it. I love the experience at NYU. I'm so thankful and blessed that I was able to experience this university and continue to experience this university. I hope this video kind of gave you guys all the tea that you guys wanted to know. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm so glad to be back. The content will be coming much more frequently, okay? So I'm happy to be back. See y'all later.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once.